Hello fellow collectors and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we're taking a look at Deluxe Class Decepticon Airwave from Transformers Earthrise War for Cybertron trilogy. This is our second in the Micromaster base characters, well I should say the second mold. In Wave 1 we had Ironworks, who has since been repainted into Grease Pit. Now we have Airwave, who will eventually be repainted into Hothouse. Unfortunately, it is just two molds, each repainted once, and to give us all four of the original Micromaster mini bases. I would have liked four unique molds, but obviously that's not how Hasbro operates, so I guess it makes sense. And I kind of feel like Grease Pit out of Ironworks isn't much of a stretch, but Hothouse out of this guy, it's just not quite doing it for me. I'm still going to get it, but I just feel like if they were going to reuse Ironworks into Grease Pit, I get that, but I would have liked a third mold for Hothouse, but we'll see how it goes. You see some artwork over here on the side of just the like airstrip, I guess, form. I don't know what's going on there. I feel like of all the artwork to put on the side, that's kind of boring, but okay. Otherwise, I really like the green packaging. I think that's fun. You have the standard Earthrise pick here on the side. Not too much going on the top or bottom. And then around on the back, we see... Do these have official names? It doesn't really look like it. I kind of just call this like the landing strip mode, and then this one I kind of call like the aircraft carrier mode. Again, I don't know if they have official names. I'll check the directions once we get inside, but you do have the robot mode, and then this is everything just kind of detached in a nice neat pile. So there's that. But yeah, I think he's going to be fun. I'm ready to check him out, so I'm going to get him out of the box here, and then we will take a closer look. So here's Airwave out of the packaging. I think he looks pretty cool. He definitely doesn't have a lot of kibble or anything like that. I will note, though, that the blue is a lot darker than pictured on the packaging. If I bring the box back in here for a second, you can see that it's definitely a lighter blue. And this is definitely like a navy blue. It's not a huge problem. I just think it's interesting that it's so off as far as the colors. But I still like him a lot. I think he's cool. He's kind of a squat little bruiser, which I like. The head sculpt is very nondescript. So like if you wanted to get a bunch of these, I feel like you probably could, because he almost just kind of gives off the sensibility of like a drone. He's got the one eye, kind of a very squat, basic head. And there's another reason that you might want to buy multiples of these, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But the robot mode looks good. So the head can swivel from side to side, can go all the way around. This is just a peg, so you can move this around as much as you want. But I will note that, like, plug it in, and then as you start to twist it, it pretty much just pops completely out. So just be wary of that. I mean, you can always pop it out, put it in a different pose, whatever you want to do. But I feel like as you go up, it tends to want to pop out. This has a hinge, so it doesn't hinder any articulation in the shoulder there, you can see. Hinge out to the side. You have a bicep swivel. And you have to be a little careful, because the bicep swivel, if you have it up like that, it's going to hinder it. But as long as you have it down, it can swivel no problem. 90 degrees at the elbow. I don't think the wrist moves at all. I think that's a solid piece. On this side, you have the same shoulder joint. Same thing with the bicep swivel. Just be careful, because this will impede if you have the square of the forearm up above it. And then he's got a kind of a gun hand, which you can rotate if you want, because it just pops right off. And then it's another piece that looks exactly identical to this. So you get two of these. You're just putting one of them on here. Waist, there's a swivel, because that's just a peg. So nothing super exciting there. You have a swivel here in the hip and a hinge. And then you have a bicep swivel. Bicep swivel? That's his thigh. So you have a thigh swivel. You have 90 degrees there in the knee. You can also move that, because that's just a peg, so you can have a swivel there as well. Of course, you have an ankle tilt. That's pretty much it. The whole rest of the leg is pretty solid. But he's got a good amount of articulation. I don't feel like anything gets in the way. I don't love the fact that these won't move when you have them, you know, up like this, because I forget very often, and I feel like I'm going to break something eventually. So that's my only complaint about the articulation. Otherwise, I think he's pretty good. I like the way he looks. I also like the lighter blue a little better, but, you know, the navy blue is not bad, but I think I do prefer the lighter blue to go with this kind of yellowish We'll call it a marigold yellow. How about that? I don't know. I'm just making stuff up. Any case, I think he looks good. Let's go ahead. We'll start getting into some transformations here. All right, so the first thing you're going to do, just take them completely apart. Go ahead, take the arms off, take these apart. His other arm pops off. Take the torso apart and pop off the feet. Or I guess the bottom legs. This, very simple. You can see that there's a long tab on both sides. There is a tab slot on the inside. So you're just going to rotate this up 180 and peg it in. Boom, that piece is ready. You're going to take his head. You're going to rotate it 180 degrees. You're going to fold it down. That piece is ready. You're going to take the arm. There is a kind of a little hook there that goes into that little spot right there. So hook that in. Now that piece is ready. This piece you're going to kind of move around, but you can pretty much just move it like this and we'll start like that. These pieces you can just put off to the side. For the feet, you have a connection right here. If you unpeg this, you can see this peg in here went into this tank tread right there. So you just unpeg that and stretch these all out. And there you go. Now you have all of the pieces disassembled and set up. So we'll go ahead. First we will do, I'm going to call this mode, I was calling it the aircraft carrier, but I'm going to call it kind of like the mobile tank mode or something like that. Alright, so we're going to go ahead, take the head torso piece like this, take the thigh piece. The head is going to face forward like the pegs, and then these two pegs are going to peg in here and here. So you just drop that on very simply like that. You're going to take the long ramp section, peg here on the bottom of the foot, is going to peg in here. And there's kind of like a little tab right there that you can kind of line up just like along the edge of this. So put this in and then just kind of like pop that. It's not like a super tab or anything like that. It's just kind of like to keep things aligned. But that should go in there like that. Then you're going to do the same over here. Peg that in. There we go. And these don't always want to, they might kick out a little bit. If it doesn't stay in like that, it's really not that big a deal. So you can see that's most of it. You're going to take these pieces here and they're going to connect into the bottom here. So you're just going to tab that in and tab that in with those connectors. So you're pretty much most of the way done at this point, except this thing really does not want to seem to cooperate with me today. But you might be thinking to yourself, well, this is still kind of a floppy mess. That's where this piece is going to come in. So you're going to lift this up. This, with these tabs facing forward, is going to peg in like this. And then these tabs here are going to connect in here and here. So you bring this up, and then this will tab in there and there. And that really shores that up. Like, this thing in the back is still giving me trouble, and it never did before, so of course it waits till I'm filming. But in any case, for the most part, that's a lot more solid. Then you're going to take these. This, I think you just peg in here, and then you take these two missile pod type missile-y, I don't know, laser guns, whatever you want to call them. And they peg in on the side. So there you go. So this, I thought it kind of looked like an aircraft carrier, but it does have tank treads. So it kind of reminds me of that form, I guess that vehicle form that Metroplex has, where he just kind of has his ramps go forward and he just kind of like moves across. You can take some Micromasters, and I will transform these guys pretty quickly here. Should have transformed these ahead of time, apparently. I don't know what it is. I feel like these still don't peg in amazingly on the side there, but you can go ahead and put him there. That's the one they always use in all the press shots, and I think he's on the back of the box as well, yeah. This is Groundhog, and then we also have Roller Force, which I'm still not super crazy about those names, but they are what they are. So there we go. You can fit two Micromasters there. on the kind of rolling battle platform, aircraft carrier, whatever you'd like to call it. So there you go. Not too bad. Next up, we're going to be taking a look at the landing strip mode, and this is very simple. I've disassembled it for the most part, but you can go ahead and leave these pieces connected because they stay exactly the same in this mode. You're going to take this, and instead of connecting it here, like it just was, you're going to connect this one to this one, like so. So we will connect that on there, and then that's pretty much your landing mode. You're going to take this, and this one is going to peg under here. It's just kind of some way to stabilize it, but also just kind of hide the arms because we don't have a great place for them. So just kind of level that out, and then you're going to take these and peg them in like this, and then pop this on here, and it's kind of like a tower. And then this one will peg on the side over here. And there you go. There is the landing strip mode. And the reason they look so similar is because on the original toy, you had kind of a swivel here, and then you just had them out to the side, and it was a landing strip, and then you just swiveled them together like this, and that's how it was the battle platform mode we just looked at. So really, instead of just having them swivel, we're just unhooking them, switching them around, and pegging them back in. So it's very, very similar, but here is the landing strip mode. I mean, you can use it as just a street ramp, or you could have like a plane come in and land. Obviously, I don't have a plane MicroMaster right now, but you could also just use it to connect as like a streetway. And I think this is going to be where this guy really comes in handy, because if I take these off, and I take these hands off, this is a nice track of road. And you can use this to connect a lot of larger playsets. So that's why I was saying earlier, it might make sense to grab a couple Airwaves, or a couple Airwaves, couple Hot Houses, whatever color scheme you like better, and then just use these leg ramp pieces to connect all of your different MicroMaster playsets, just because I think this is a nice stretch of road that you can use that seems pretty stable. So it would be a nice bit of connection there, but I'm really hoping that I don't think it's ever going to happen, but I would love for them to just put out some kind of like extra track set, even if it's just a Hasbro Pulse exclusive or something like that, just so that we could get some more road and really connect all these play sets together. I think that'd be really cool. But in the meantime, you could use something like this. It doesn't have a connection on both sides. It would be kind of cool if this like flipped up and there was a connection underneath, but I guess this would still be in the way, so I guess that wouldn't really work. But anyway, let's go ahead and we'll put the landing strip mode back together here. Landing strip, just stretch of road, whatever you'd like to call it. I think it's pretty cool. There is actually one more mode we can take a look at. Alright, so the last one we're going to do, we're going to take this kind of front piece like this, turn it upside down, take this piece here and connect it like so, take the other piece and connect it as well. So pretty much like you're just getting ready to do the armored platform section again. But now you're going to fold down the ankle tilt all the way down like so. You're going to take this piece and you're going to peg here and here on those two peg spots right there. So there you go. Peg that in. At this point, you're actually going to detach this here. So this is the first time we're actually taking the legs apart. You're going to take part of the leg pieces and actually leave them connected to this. And then you're going to have this piece here like so. We're going to come back to this piece and we're going to grab this, and because it has these two connectors here and here, we are going to peg that onto those, so that'll clip like that. Then you're going to take this and you have these two spots right here, which are going to peg on here and here. Oh, I forgot to take this part off. This is going to connect on here like so. These two guns are going to connect onto the end of here and here. This piece just kind of pegs into the fist here, I guess just as a means to hide it. And then this piece here, and this is the part that I think is hilarious. So the directions specifically tell you to take this piece and have it, let's see, they tell you to rotate it like, no, where is it? I'm looking at the wrong side. These directions are confusing here. So this piece is like this. It tells you to rotate this up like this. Then it tells you to bend this part up like this. So you have two pegs like that. Then in the very next scene, they tell you to have it like this so that you can flip this thing down. Come on now. And peg this in like that. So I don't know why in one spot they have the two pegs facing the same direction, and in literally the next block of directions they have this spun around 180. I don't know. But anyway, this is your third mode. I think it looks like kind of a mess. Now, to be fair, the original Airwave toy did have all three of these modes. And again, they didn't really count the like landing strip and mobile fortress, or whatever you want to call those two modes, as kind of different modes, because it was literally just the ramps were like this, and then all you did was fold them like this. I mean, I guess technically it was two different modes, but they didn't really so much, like on the packaging they just showed the landing strip mode and then they showed this. So this was kind of an official mode back in the day for the original G1 playset. I think it kind of looked a mess then. I definitely think it looks even worse now. I don't like, back then it had kind of like a box opening thing, and the little Micromaster sat inside and it had the missiles on the top, very much like this does. But the problem is the way they've done this, there is a hinge here, so you should be able to lift this up, but because of this big crotch plate here, it can only go so far. So you can really only lift it until about there, and then it starts to make sounds because, it can't go any higher up because this piece here hits into the bottom. So when you take a Micromaster, let me go ahead and transform this guy back real quick. Why is he pegged in so tight? I'm telling you, man, these Micromasters always giving me trouble. There we go. So here's our Micromaster. I mean, how is he supposed to fit in there? It doesn't make any sense. I mean, even if I were to like lay him down, or maybe if I put his arms forward and he like laid down like he's controlling it, it really just looks like he's getting smashed by it. I really don't understand what this is supposed to do. Like I said, I didn't really understand it back in the day, but I didn't have the original toy, so maybe they had issues with the Micromaster fitting in there as well. But I definitely have issues with this one. I really don't understand who's supposed to fit in there and not just look like they're getting smashed. I don't know. I appreciate that they recreated this mode from the original toy, because the original toy did have something like this. I just don't think this works. Even if you open this up more, trying to sit a dude in here, maybe if I sit him like this, maybe if I sit him like that, I don't know. I feel like maybe there's something there, but I still feel like it's really just not that great. I'm sorry, this mode's just really not that great. So at the end of the day, I like Airwave quite a bit. I really like the airstrip mode and the kind of aircraft carrier, armored transport mode, whatever you want to call them. They don't really have official names, but I like both of those modes. I appreciate that they kind of tried to recreate the weird gun shoebox mode, because that's what the original toy had. I don't think it works. I don't know how well it worked back in the day, to be honest, because I didn't have that toy, but I really don't think it works here. I do appreciate them trying. And in my mind, it's just a third mode you don't need. It's superfluous, so I can just ignore it. I like the other two modes quite a bit. I like the robot mode. I do wish he was the lighter blue that it shows on the packaging. The navy blue is not bad, but I just think the lighter blue would have worked a little bit better here. But I like Airwave a lot. Like I said, I really think his legs are going to be very valuable for long stretches of road to create, kind of connections between all your other play sets. So I'm thinking about maybe grabbing another one of these or something like that, just to get a little bit more road connectors for all the various play sets. But I think he's cool. I really like him quite a bit. I recommend picking him up. I'm going to pick up Hot House as well. Unfortunately, like this one doesn't really work for Hot House at all. At least with Grease Pit, his like tower mode looked very similar to Ironworks because they probably used some similar molding back in the day as well. But Hot House was kind of a garage or a firehouse looking playset that looked very similar to Ironworks or Grease Pit, and then you kind of just like flipped it in half and it was a tank. And I don't really know how they're going to get a tank out of this one. You know, they on the when we had the pre-orders go up, they very much showed off the weird shoebox gun mode that I just showed off, and it's not really the same for Hot House. Maybe a fan can make kind of a fan mode or something that looks more like a tank, or maybe just use the armored transport mode here and configure that with a long gun or something like that. We'll figure it out. Maybe we can connect these together and make a long gun from this. That might work. Can we peg this into the end here? Yeah, that could work. This is kind of the size of the gun for Hot House, so maybe we can make something like that work. I'll have to tinker around with it. I'm not quite sure when Hot House is coming out. I have the pre-order up on Hasbro Pulse. I think it's like December or maybe even January, so we'll see how that goes. But in the meantime, I think Airwave is really cool. I definitely recommend picking him up. I think he's an excellent little Micromaster base robot, and he's going to make some nice connections to the rest of your playsets. And his feet are sticking to the bottom of my cloth review station here. Anyway, definitely check him out. I recommend him. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as always, thanks so much for watching.